And just some announcements before I introduce today's guests. Let's see, next we have a full schedule from campus events. Next Wednesday, Roy Scheider will be speaking here at noon in the ballroom. And next Thursday, the 14th, Arnold Schwarzenegger will be joining us. And a week after that, author John Irving, author of The World According to Garp and the Hotel New Hampshire, will be speaking here. All of those programs are at noon in the ballroom. Check the Bruin, for details. Of course, our ads will be in there. Today's guests they're renowned for their comedy. They're one of the best comedy troupes in the country, and it originated in Chicago, and that's why they are called the Second City. They're one of the best improvisational comedy groups around, and please feel free to get up and ask them questions. That's what they're here for. There are microphones located at each side of the ballroom, so please feel free to get up and ask whatever you want, because they seem to be really willing to talk to the students. They're all going to introduce themselves when they come out, and there's 7 of them, as you can count from the chairs. And I don't really know what else to tell you except that they're just terrific people, and they're great performers, and they're at the Huntington Hartford Theater until April the 24th, so if you like them here, please go see them at the Huntington Hartford. Would you please give a warm UCLA welcome to the Second City Comedy Troupe.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
This is for us.
You can all help yourselves.
Want to say?
Yes. My name is Lance Kinsey.
I'm Miriam Flynn.
Danny Breen.
Audrey Neenan.
Bruce Jarko.
George Wendt.
Jim Belushi. Yes, in the back.
Oh.
Oh.
Well, thank you.
That's okay. That's all right. We don't have to have any.
What was your next question?
Are you people familiar with Second City? We're in town doing a show at the Huntington Hartford now in Hollywood.
Same. Does anybody not know about the history of Second City who's here who wants to know? Yes? Okay, Bruce.
There's a question over there, yes? Just stand up, we don't care.
You serious?
Yeah, I saw a
okay.
hand.
Okay, wait a minute. This gentleman wanted to know about the history of Second City. Miriam, what did...
Second City started in Chicago about 24 years ago with people like Alan Arkin and Barbara Harris. And it started as a comedy improvisational group, and some people that have worked there over the years have been Joan Rivers and David Steinberg and Robert Klein.
Victor Wong.
No, I don't think he was there.
Victor Wong.
Laurence Olivier was there for a while. Then in the later years, some of the people from Saturday Night Live, Dan Aykroyd, Gilda Radner, John Belushi, Bill Murray. I think you've probably seen SCTV. That's our Canadian Toronto company. And
Eugene Trubner.
oh,
Eugene Trubner.
Yeah. But over the years, there have been some pretty important people in comedy that have gone on in acting and directing, and thank you, and waiting on tables. And we're all alumni of the last few years at Second City, and we've gotten together at the Huntington Hartford here now, and we're doing sort of a best of show. Some scenes go back almost to the beginning. So that's about the most boring way I can put it.
With Second City improvising, I mean, for improvising, we don't do, particularly in this show, we don't do any improvising because it's basically we're doing the best of Second City. The scenes we're doing were based on improvisation. And we then work them up, and you work them up once in what we call an improvisational part of the show, the third part, the set. You work it up once on a suggestion, then maybe you bring it back a couple of times, and then rehearse it and put it into a show. So that's how the scenes come about.
But no boring improv in this show, so don't worry about it.
No.
Oh, we got one.
Right
Yep.
here. All right.
Woo! Miriam's cup. No, for
About 2 weeks?
2 or 3 weeks, yeah.
What do you want?
We've all worked together in
the past.
various incarnations for about 3-4 years.
Well, actually,
More, yeah.
about 9 years, unfortunately.
Has it been that long?
Danny and Miriam knew each other in high school.
In Cleveland.
Miriam and I knew each
Three
other
of
in
us are from
college.
the funniest city in the United States,
Yeah,
Cleveland.
any Clevelanders out there?
All right.
Surf of the tribe.
But Ash, we've about 9 years ago between
No.
74.
9 years?
George
74
and I
months
and
of the
Audrey.
start.
Yeah.
Frightening, isn't it?
George and Miriam and I.
Oh, sick.
God help.
So we've worked on and off together for the last
9 years.
Thank you, Jim, for sort of wrapping that up.
Yeah,
Yes.
yes.
it'll be about 9.
Question?
Clear?
I have a question. I've seen you all perform in Chicago, and I must say you're excellent, and I intend on seeing you at the Huntington and Hartford. My question is, did you ever get any kind of censorship or anything from the political machine in Chicago with any of the humor that you try to bring out about Jane Byrne or Mayor Daley or anybody? Did they ever give you any hassles in any way?
No.
I think the opposite.
Although they did give us a hard time about fireproofing the wood one time. They made us the city made us tear
Yeah.
up the floor.
That's true.
And,
But that was because that had been a violation for years.
Well, and it was also
they
right
chose
after
to
that
overlook
scam. It was also right after
wouldn't
that
pay off
fire.
the cops.
Well,
There was a
yeah,
fire scam in
the
Chicago,
way
and
they
we got
have
in
it
trouble for that.
is,
But not about the material. As a matter of fact, Chicago is a very interesting city politically, and Chicago really looked to Second City to satirize what was going on. And we would get grief from the critics if we didn't nail the city occasionally on things. It's much different than, say, politics out here, where I don't think anybody really
Cares.
cares. But in Chicago, there's a lot of characters, and it's they look to Second City for
Also,
us to
some
do
of
that.
the politicians, we actually did a benefit for Richie Daley, the late Mayor
did?
Daley's son.
Yeah.
Jeez,
I think
things
they
have
look at-
changed since then.
we did a Family Feud.
I think they look at it. They look at some of our satire as actually free publicity for them. I mean, whether they're dumb or not, I don't know. They really don't care if we slam them on stage. They think it's great.
They all look silly, and ultimately. I mean, you can make any one of them look insane.
Green pepper, anybody?
Anyone want anything?
There's one.
Are there certain rules for pure improvisation? I mean, you have certain guidelines that you go by?
Yeah.
We can't tell.
One thing is never talking at the same time with it. We had that rehearsed, but didn't work. Yeah, there's a lot of rules about it, and that's one thing that part of the reason I think that we decided not to improvise out here is that there are a lot of improvisational groups out here, but we sort of think we do it better because we've worked at it a long time, and Second City has a real tradition and history behind it. And improvisation is not just a free-for-all. It
Well-
is there's a lot of discipline to it.
You want like some of the rules, like kind of just
3 jokes.
they're really boring.
There's
yeah.
3 joke build-up.
No,
That's not the first.
give and take, trust. You know, they're like,
Denial.
yeah.
Denial, you can't
No,
say.
No, that's
yeah.
not right.
Oh well, yeah.
No. That's a big one for if you're just starting out.
Denial.
It's like when if someone sticks their finger up like this and says, put your hands up, and you go, that's not a gun.
That's your
finger. That's denial. You're supposed to
cheap
accept joke.
It's real funny, Rivers though. was really good at
Accept the.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I'll finish this. I'll finish this.
But I had a joke. Shut up.
But I had a joke. That's another one. That's what a lot of, out here, there's a lot of different improv groups, and they come from a lot of different places. And so everyone thinks that their direction for the scene, when you get on stage with like 3 different people who are trained from, and you're now from 4 different groups, you get on stage and everyone thinks the scene should go in one different direction, and nobody says, all right, I'll give in to your direction of the scene, when you're out there. So,
Yeah, Audrey's very good at that.
thanks so much.
Yeah.
She's very easy. I think that's what you're trying to say.
Easy?
Oh, I meant easy
Cheap.
to work
I
with.
Something
prefer
that
cheap.
rhymes. No.
I have a
Another
question.
question, I think.
Yeah.
Over here. Coming from, Second City has such a legacy for the last 25 years, coming from, all the wonderful people, and all talented people that have come out of there, and this whole cast is very talented. How do you feel about that legacy? Does that put a certain kind of pressure on you?
Yes.
No.
If anything, it sort of has helped all of us get going from Second City. It's that our predecessors have sort of opened a lot of doors for us, so it's nothing to deny, certainly.
There's been like 65 reviews, and our producer, Bernard Solins, says ever since the second one, people have been saying it's not as good as it used to be. And nor is the company as good as it used to be. So like they've all, been lionized, and we have to fight that. It's a pain in the neck.
You have to fight it at the beginning, but by the time you're doing the show, you've gone through so many trials with it that you're not.
But for instance,
Intimidated
opening
by
night, we had people all the way back to the beginning of there was somebody there from the first company, Mina called, and there really is a fraternity among Second City people that out here there's so many of us, and once you know that somebody's worked at Second City, you've already got a rapport going with them.
Did you folks go from performing into improv? Did you just start straight into improv, or did anyone start in stand-up and then go into improv? And do you think it's
I think most of us came from very boring pedestrian jobs in the real world. I came from a racetrack.
Straight into improv. Do you think it's possible for someone to go from stand-up into improv successfully?
I think it's to their benefit if they do. I mean, rather than going through classical theater training.
I disagree.
Yeah, I do too. What are you, crazy?
I think stand-up is
Impediment.
It has been done. I mean, there have been stand-ups that have gone through Second City, but I think it's to the benefit to have
It's more Second City to
theatrical
stand-up.
training and
Yeah.
go into that from an actor's standpoint.
Of the seven of us here, I think four of us had theater backgrounds, and there was a mixture. But I think that one thing that sets Second City apart is that instead of just telling jokes, we always did scene work. And so I think to be at Second City, not only did you have to be able to improvise, you had to be able to act. And sometimes I think the problem with the stand-up approach is that it does become a series of jokes instead of
You're
scenes
out there on your own.
and characters.
Yeah, you're out there on your own just doing jokes, and if you can go from Second City to stand-up, that's another thing.
No, I didn't. Did I say that I thought stand-up was a
Good way.
was a help? No, I didn't mean that.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Sure.
I wasn't listening. What I meant was that I think that it's probably to your benefit not to have any theatrical training at all, including stand-up, and although it can help in
Well, no, I
one case,
disagree with
Marion,
that.
it really helped an awful lot.
Just get drunk and get on stage.
But really, we bring so much of the experiences of the real world, of your experiences, and we try and share those with the audience, try and share their own experiences, and you can't do that and be a theater baby at the same time.
Why?
What?
Well,
I don't understand this.
Bruce is speaking for himself.
Well,
I think the answer is you can do almost anything and still get into Second City.
A director of ours, Del Close, used to say that everyone had habits they had to break in order to improvise, and that if you're coming from any direction, that you just have different habits, probably.
I'm just an
If he looks at an actor, he would definitely want them to drop things that he saw an actor standing out as. I don't think that made sense either, did it?
Well, you're coming over to my side, I think, Lance.
No.
I think, well, to improvise, you do have to sort of give into it, and you have to be open to make a fool out of yourself and fail, and some nights you'd walk off and you'd think you were so brilliant, and other nights we would wait backstage till the audience had gone home so that we could crawl out. So it all depends.
Well, Second City does create its own kind of theater, too. It's very different from classical theater or stand-up, and so you really have to get used to that, and that's kind of breaking the habits that Lance was talking
That's right.
about. But really, it's its own
Its own thing.
Yeah.
Thing with the thing.
I have two questions. First, I'd like to know how the members of the troupe are selected and who selects them. Is there an omniscient board of elders that selects them, or do you do it by lot or what?
It's fighting until there's only one man standing.
to joke off.
Well, the producer, Bernie Stallings, who's the producer of Second City, was the producer of the first company. So the people that are at Second City have really been there from the beginning, and so that's why I think tends to hopefully some quality in the theater, because the same people have kept the troupe going throughout the year. So they decide, the directors and producers.
They have set up a workshop and touring group also that usually people come through before they come into the resident company. Many times people are chosen from the touring company, from the workshops, and then from the resident company.
It's kind of like becoming a Dodger.
Yeah, you work
go
up through the
through,
farm leagues, and
But some people just walk in and get it.
yeah,
That's true.
Danny had another improvisational background, but wasn't with the touring company.
But it was an offshoot of the workshops.
But
Right.
it's a whole lot of fun getting there.
Yeah, we all worked with the touring company except for you, right? All of
Yes,
us worked with
everybody
the
worked with-
we all did the touring company except for Dan.
You know, luck has a lot to do with it, and timing, if they happen to need somebody in the company at the time. And
Yeah, Miriam and George and I came in at the time when they had lost one entire company, and they said we needed a whole new touring company. And we walked in
That
together.
man back there cast us.
Really
There he
good.
is.
There he is. Raul is here.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
Raul.
Yeah.
Didn't think you were
Former
coming.
director of the Second City, currently production stage manager at the Huntington Hartford, Raul Moncada.
Raul, come on up here. Come on.
All right.
Why do you think it is that improv has never successfully been done on television? And is it possible to do improv on TV? Would you have an audience for that?
Well, very
True
rarely
improv.
it's is it an end unto itself? We use improv as a process to come up with material that's show worthy, and the whole process of improvisation is based on failure, actually. So that if you know, I don't think any TV producer would like to fail as often as improvisations fail. And when they try it, they do fail, and the ratings go down, and they cut the show.
That's right, and the other thing is that the immediacy of being in a club or a theater and watching people improvise is lost on television. Nobody ever believes that you've made it up on television. They don't buy it for a minute. Sitting at home, knowing that something was done a long time ago or is being done thousands of miles away, you don't get that immediacy.
For example, who knows that the moon landing actually happened?
Right.
Think about it. Girl.
Yeah, a lot of paranoid theory.
Actually, I think part of the success of Saturday Night Live was that immediacy. I mean, the audience did know that was live, and that helps the audience. You know, there's a risk going on, and so you're pulling for the cast, and that's what helps
But
in
that's-
improvisation.
But it's
And
hard
you let
to get
the
on
things
television.
go. Yeah,
It's
you
hard to
let
get on
things
any-
get by that.
I think Saturday Night Live came the closest
Yeah.
to achieving.
Yeah.
Yeah. Saturday Night Live really did what Second City was never able to do in any of its various, abortive and whatnot TV projects. Saturday Night Live really brought what was Second City, to like TV and made it work. I don't know why we can't do it, but SCTV kind of does it now. But Saturday Night Live is really closer to what Second City is than SCTV is.
I have a question for Mr. Belushi. I remember reading the LA Times a favorable article about you in the Pirates of Penzance, but it also sort of compared you and your brother. Do you get sick and tired of being compared to your brother all the time?
No, actually, I'm flattered. He's pretty talented.
Question, does Second City ever accept written submissions, or do you guys just improv generate that type of stuff?
No.
No written
Absolutely not,
submissions.
yeah.
It just.
Yeah.
What do you got?
We did the touring company. You have to do the touring. We don't write things. You know what I mean? Until they're improvised and put through. Now maybe somebody might come in with a sort of an outline of a scene and say, you want to try this, but you don't generally, unless you're writing for a television project or something like that, sit down and write. It's generally done through the improv.
Some of the worst turkey scenes we've ever done have been ones that people try to write beforehand, and they just they're just so plodding and
They
boring
sound like
and,
they're written
and
when you do them.
condescending.
No.
No. Not that yours would be. but-
And also no to your question.
But you could send them since we're not there anymore.
Hi. When I grow up, I'd like to be in Second City. So how would I seriously go about it?
Go to
Like-
Chicago.
Eat
Go to
lots of all
Chicago?
the basic food groups.
No, I mean, can you give me some examples of how some of the members up there went about it?
Well, Second City has, as Lance was saying, a workshop program, and usually people in the touring companies are chosen from the workshops. So I guess it would be to try to get into one of the workshops, and hopefully you'd get into the touring company, and then usually from the touring company, it's you're chosen for the resident company. But you know, that's a nice pat way to do it, and we were lucky enough that it worked out for us. But that's the ideal way. But that would be, I guess, the only suggestion I could give. Or if
You're
you didn't
also
want to move
in-
to Chicago, just to get into any kind of an improv group or theater group wherever you were.
You're around
keep working
Chicago and
out.
you're in an improv
Yeah,
group.
but most of you
chances
are in
you'll be
school
seen.
now, and
Yeah, finish school.
And if you're in school, the way I did it was I started my own improv group at college, and there was a book by Viola Spolin called Improvisation for the Theater, and like the first 6 chapters give you some basic rules to follow, and we would perform in bars and cancer benefits and it's really
Street corners, alleys, anywhere.
yeah, and we just did it a lot.
You also,
suggestion, sir.
We did it a lot, and so, and between, during vacations, we would come up and watch Second City, and we would model ourselves after Second City.
Rip off.
that's why it helps to be around. But you know, you
Steal
also
some
have.
material. Let me finish on
I'm
that.
sorry.
And then we would, and then what happened, when I graduated from school, I went up and I auditioned. So by the time I auditioned, I had a background of improvisation. I had watched Second City's formula, and I read a little bit of the book.
Or you could have
So
a
that
brother
helped
that was
out
in
a
the
lot.
company. That would, oh, did I?
Or
say
you have a
something?
brother in the company.
I got the clip.
Actually, that helped a lot. It opened the door. I was able to, when I met the producer, you know, he knew of my brother, and so. But the thing is, it'll open the door for you, but you still have to walk through it, you know.
You also have, can I do this? You also have another problem because you're a woman. I mean, just proportionately.
Well, wait a minute, Audrey. I think you can
Proportionally,
rephrase
how do you
that.
mean?
But no, wait a minute. I mean, there's obviously there are only, you know, there's a difference.
Yes,
And
there is.
there always has been. All right, fine. Danny, why don't you take this? Why don't you tell her why there's only 2 women and 5 men?
Yeah, why?
It's a proportional difference.
Okay. I have one more question. You guys said you guys just got together again because you guys were alumni from SCTV just for this one show?
We're not
Is
alumni
that-
from
well,
SCTV.
From-
graduates or whatever?
No, from
the
Second
City, from the
It's a
resident
nightclub.
company.
Oh, okay.
Nightclub in
Totally
Chicago.
different thing.
Theater.
But do you guys usually work together all the time?
No.
Okay, well, what other projects are you guys individually involved in? Like somebody said,
Oh, wait, we do work sometimes. I mean, Bruce and I did a theater thing years ago.
I mean, like, are you
together.
guys getting-
George and Miriam did a theater thing.
are you
didn't
guys like getting into movies or?
Yeah, we all
Television?
have films and television projects that we're doing individually that are coming out.
Yeah,
Just
we
moving
have
right
something
along.
together.
Audrey and I can be seen on HBO's hit comedy series, not necessarily the news.
All right.
George is the ever popular Norm from Cheers. Bruce is from New York.
Just finished a run in Edmond, David Mamet's play, and Jim just finished Pirates of Penzance.
I have 2 films coming out this summer, National Lampoon's Vacation and Mr. Mom.
Right.
And I'm planning on seeing both of those.
And Lance is getting married in August.
Aren't you on the yesterday show?
And people also, you know, you say,
yeah.
do you work together? Everybody in this group, except for Lance and myself, are associated with people from the Second City. And in other words, they're married to them,
Yeah.
Right.
literally.
It's true.
Miriam is married to Will Porter, who was in the resident company at Second City and is out here now. And Danny Breen is married to Noni Newton, who was in the resident company. Nancy Kelly is Bruce's wife. Bernadette Burkett, who's out here and improvising and doing lots of television work, is George's wife. And Sandy Belushi.
Yeah, but I met my wife in college.
Right, you met together, but she was also in the company at Second City.
Yeah. Or I didn't meet her. I didn't meet her at Second
That's
City.
true. That's
How
right.
did you meet her?
I think the point is that when you're in Second
Made you
City, you
guys
really
date a
don't
lot,
get
or
out
did
very
you-
much.
Well, we kind of dated.
Now, one time I remember
know, women
Jim
are
and
loose.
Jim and Sandy were at me and Danny's apartment.
Oh, no.
Jim asked us to turn over a stack of records.
Okay,
We put on the Wizard of Oz soundtrack.
Yeah,
You had
George,
to be there.
Mr. Wendt, you mentioned how written stuff didn't always work that well. How was the transition for you going to a mainstream series like Cheers?
Well, they have very talented writers, and it's like we were all kind of like novice, and we had good concepts and stuff, but we found it better and much more, please bad word, organic way of like getting people to say how getting people, behavior really is tough to script unless you're a fabulous script writer making thousands and thousands of dollars.
I'd heard that set on Cheers, it's mostly a group kind of thing in which there's, they say, a little bit of improvisation. If like an ending doesn't work, the director calls out to the group, and I don't know. I read something about it, like a particular song ending you had for a particular show.
Yeah, there has been. There's a lot of feedback on Cheers from the cast, between the cast and the writers. There's all sorts of give and take there. It's not, real iron fist time with the script, but those guys are really in a league by themselves, I think. Cheers writers.
George, don't you think that one advantage of being from Second City is if you have a director out here that understands what Second City and improvisation is about, that they do give you a little bit of freedom?
Yeah.
Not to throw things out the window, but to become involved a little bit in the
Oh yeah, we
process.
play with stuff every day. Every day, 8 hours a day. We just, and if something works when we're rehearsing, it may or may not get into the script.
Do you feel that the experience you've had in Second City has helped you become a better actor as opposed to?
Hell yes.
Because the improvisation itself.
Because you'll try anything.
Just because experience.
You will try anything. You'll bring in. I've mainly worked in stage, and stage directors say, "Boy, Second City people, they'll bring in everything every day. There's something new, and you reject it and you lose it." But, pair of glasses,
Do any of you have formal training as writers? Did you go in? Do any of you have a background as writers before you went into performing?
No, we learned to write on our feet.
Yeah.
Well, no, wait a minute, Miriam. I had a poem published in Boston.
Except for Bruce. Bruce learned to write sitting down.
No formal writing here. I got a D when I was a senior in college.
Bruce, why don't you recite that poem for us? There was a young girl from Nantucket.
What makes Second City better than the improv groups that, say, are founded here in LA or other improv groups throughout the country?
I don't think they're better necessarily. I think we do something a little different than the improvisational groups do here.
What's that?
The improvisational groups here are a real fast, joke-oriented, which is not to say that's bad. I'm just identifying it. They rely on games as the performance. And as Bruce said earlier, we use improvisation as a means to a finished product, a scene. And so the things that we do are scenes that came out of improvisation, but are set scenes.
Mm-hmm. Also, we had the benefit of working under Del Close.
working together.
Yeah. Was the director at Second City in our time and had been up until just recently. And he, for my money, was the master of improvisational technique. He was one of the founding members of Second City, or at least an early original at Second City, and went on to help form the committee in San Francisco. He's quite a character, and I think just knowing and being directed by Del sets us apart from a lot of the other groups who don't have the benefit of having worked under him.
We also work under, like I was saying before, all the groups together out here, you're coming from 4 different arenas. So many times people just come together and form a group, the Comedy Store Players or something that has all these different values and reasons and, rules in their heads. And we've all worked together coming up from the ground. So I think
I've got a theory, and that is there are exceptions to this, but most of the improv groups out here are showcase situations where like individual actors form together in a group for the just expediently to like get like seen in a showcase situation. And I have a little maxim is that ensemble improvisation and showcase are mutually exclusive phenomena. At Second City, it's not a showcase. It is what we're doing at the time. It's our gig. We get paid well for it. Not well, but equity minimum, and but I mean, it's like what we're doing. It's not like showcasing for something.
Yeah, because also Second City is in Chicago, and the industry itself, the influence in Chicago is minimal. So there's not people stealing you from the company. You're not showcasing for somebody. Out here, you never know who's in the audience. Casting people in Chicago, it's just regular people in the audience. So
it's really, really important because you're allowed to learn as you go along and make mistakes and grow, and then when you're ready to move on, you can. But I think that's really important.
Which is not to say that any of us are without ambition. I mean, the ambition was the word. Bernie came back one night when some people were in the audience in Chicago, the producer, and he had told us before the show went on that they were going to be there, and he came back at intermission and he said, ambition, it's made the show better. Because everybody, is, when someone's out in the audience and everyone's got their own career and it's your business, but it's...
Bernie always complains. He says, last time they had an LA company, it was at a horrible place in Pasadena about 6 years ago, and Bernie would always complain. He'd say, I love it back here in Chicago. He says, in Los Angeles, I have people with careers. Here I have actors.
Now, you said it says that Bernie Sahlins directed the show at the Huntington Hartford, but yet most of the sketches came out of improvisation. How does he function as a director in a situation like that?
Well, because our scenes, our improvisations work themselves into scenes, they become little pieces of theater. So you direct it like you'd direct any 3-minute or 4-minute scene, piece.
Very frequently he works also as an editor by saying, you're missing a joke there, or you need a third joke there, or, or you can lose that.
They'll sabotage scenes, too.
It needs to be smarter.
Somebody's got to be called the director.
It lacks wit.
Anybody can be funny. It's got to say something.
And one
Irony.
common phrase he'd use in
He's
notes
big
was,
on irony.
I hated that scene. I hated that. He'd say, but Bernie, look, the audience loved it. Like our laughs, it worked. Don't ever tell me it worked for the audience. That's not good enough for him. It never is. You could pull your zipper down and it would work for the audience.
I have a question on getting suggestions. There's one group in LA that I really enjoy. It's called Funny You Should Ask.
Yeah,
They're great.
we have good friends in that.
They're great.
And what they do is at the very beginning of the show, they get all their suggestions. And other groups get their suggestions throughout the show. And that seems to me, I really like the way that Funny Should Ask gets their suggestions. How do you get your suggestions when you do improv?
We improvise every night after our shows at Second City. Not here in Los Angeles, we're not, but in Chicago, that's how they do it. And we take suggestions before we do our improvisational set. And we take the suggestions, we leave for about 15 minutes, and we come back and we give about an hour's worth of improvisation from
So
those
you get all your suggestions at one time.
Yeah, and then we put up a running order of the scenes.
Unless it's a certain type of game, like a spot improvisation where you ask for an opening line of dialogue and a closing line of dialogue, then you ask. But
unless some nut comes backstage and has something written down on a piece of paper, We wanted you to do a scene on their daily. I'd like to see it.
I got this funny idea.
Yeah, there's a group from our Rotary Club. Could you do a Rotary scene?
Funny You Should Ask, I think, is largely from Dudley Riggs' backgrounds. Some of them are from out here, but I guess I've never seen Dudley Riggs myself, but that's a sort of an institution, kind of like Second City.
Yeah, they're very good. Yeah. Bridge over the River Kwai. Wait, Bridge over the River Kwai. Don't forget it.
How's the Los Angeles
Also,
audience different from the Chicago audience and possibly other cities?
We're getting lots of old people, so why don't you guys come out?
Yeah.
The whole first 20 rows are like founding patrons, and we're bumming out. We're looking through the cracks, going, "I don't believe it! Look at these people." We spin them around in their chairs. They can't believe all the, the material, the fast, funny, hip stuff we're throwing at them. They go, "Woohoo!" Dresses blowing up. I mean, they really don't get it.
Blue lips.
But somebody was asking me if we have to change our material where we go, and there are certain scenes and certain subjects that I think everybody finds universal, family scenes and those sort of things. But certain humor is real urban-based, and Los Angeles I don't think is a real urban-based city. For instance, jokes about cab drivers and bus drivers and those sort of things out here don't have the effect that they have in a city like Chicago or New York. Chicago is such an unusual city in a way. It's a big city, but it's got a very what's the word for it? Community. Any city that could have the Cubs, yeah. You can do jokes about your alderman and the guy that picks up your trash, and it's a very
city of neighborhoods.
Yeah, out here it is a little bit different. The humor is. I think, out here I know the television humor is very important out here because that's where the industry is. So there are some areas that work better in different cities.
But they've been reacting. The audience has been reacting very well to this show.
Oh yeah.
We need more students.
Yeah.
It's
really
cheap.
do.
It's like
Just for
$4.25
us.
to sit way up, but we'll play up there.
Yeah, you get like half-price student rush tickets or something, don't they?
Yeah,
Yeah, we'd love it to have.
It's really cheap.
That's what we're used to in Chicago.
You guys are our normal audience.
Please. So you laugh up there in the back, and the people down front will know it's funny. You'd be like our laugh track, our little laugh track.
Gruesome.
We do a bar scene do a couple bar scenes in this show, and the reaction is a little different here. And someone was talking to me the other night. He goes, "Well, there's no bars in this town. There's no bars where you hang out and you get drunk. People don't."
Really, we can do that until 5 o'clock in the morning in Chicago. Get drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's a nice thing.
There was a person this time that's been trying to raise his hand. Yeah.
I've seen you in Huntington, Hartford, and I think you're all very talented. And not to take away from the rest of the group, but a sketch that would have a great impression on this audience would be George and Bruce's professor and student.
Yeah.
That was George and Lance.
George and Lance.
Do it now?
Sure, do it. Because they want. Yeah, why not? You want to do it?
Yeah, I suppose. What do you
Sure.
say, Lance?
All right, we'll move off, and you guys can just sit up
Are
here.
we almost done, or what?
We got about 20 minutes, George. Yeah. We'll just leave our stuff here.
Got a cigarette, Bruce?
Yeah. Sneaky. Very sneaky. Oh, wow.
For the end.
Bye. Yeah, I got it.
I don't know how far that seat goes back, Gio. I don't know how far that.
Is this good?
You got room for this? Oh, did I get my purse? I'm sorry. Excuse me. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry.
As long as it's smooth, okay.
Yeah, just a real good transition. This is improvised. I'll get it.
Miss Flynn, please, no more students this afternoon. I'll be grading finals all day. Thank you.
It doesn't matter. Just 1 second. Relax. Hi, Dr. Coven.
Oh, no, I'm
Hi.
sorry. I don't have time right now.
Remember me, Paul Sullivan? Yeah, History 202, man. We meet every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 3:30.
That's Tuesdays and Thursdays at 4.
Right, Tuesday, Thursday.
Yeah. Look, I'm sorry. I really don't have time to help you right now. I'm really very busy.
Yeah,
Is there something I can do for you?
Yes,
Quickly?
sir. Actually, I seem to have missed your final exam, sir.
You seem to have missed it?
I think I Perhaps I missed it altogether. I'd have to refer to my diary.
Mr. Sullivan, according to my records, you attended the first 2 classes, then I did not see you the remainder of the semester.
Well, I could explain, sir.
Yeah.
Could I just have a moment?
No,
of your time?
really,
please. Sir, you see, I'm taking a full load, 19 hours, So, and, I got a full-time job at the steel mills. So, I spilled molten steel on my leg one day. So I was hospitalized for like a goodly number of weeks, sir. And I was gonna send in all the assignments, except my roommate ripped off my typewriter. My dog died. And my mother, sir. My mother had to go to Phoenix.
Yeah, Mr. Sullivan, I'm very sorry to hear about your mother, but there's really nothing I can do for you.
Well, I just want to make up the exam,
No,
sir.
no.
Please.
I have a policy.
I
I
know the
do
material
not
frontwards and
give...
backwards. Please, sir, allow me to show you that I know this material.
All right, Mr. Sullivan. Since your excuses have been so original...
Thank you.
I will make an exception this one time and allow
much.
you to make this exam up.
Thank you so much.
How about an oral exam right now?
You don't have much time, sir.
Oh, no.
I
I can make a little time for this. There's no problem with this, is there? You do know this material, don't you? Great. All right. Then why don't you explain and amplify for me the ramifications of the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk?
This wouldn't be multiple.
No.
The social, political, and economic conditions that existed in the two countries before the war differed vastly, sir, from the social, political, and economic conditions in both countries after the war. Now, France, of course, had nothing whatsoever to do with this particular treaty, but we'll come back to the French situation and draw some very interesting parallels, sir.
I'll look forward to that.
Russia is a vast country with many natural resources. The population in Russia, I've found, has been divided into two segments, sir. On the one hand, you've got your urban, and on the other hand,
you have your rural.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you seem to be wandering all over the place, Mr. Sullivan. Why don't you just take it from the provisional government right up to and including the treaty?
Thank you, Dr. Cohen. That helps me focus. May I rephrase that, please?
Yeah.
We must all remember that the provincial government...
Provisional.
Provisional government is provided for among the provisions of the treaty in order to provide for the provisions of the people which heretofore had not been provided for.
All right, Mr. Sullivan, that'll be enough. You've made it very apparent to me
please,
that you do not know this material in the
Any
least.
other treaties or battles?
I'm sorry, I have no other recourse but to give you a failing mark. I'm sorry.
No, wait, Dr. Cofen, before you fill out that failing grade, sir, I think you ought to know a little item from my personal life. I flunked this course, so I flunked right out of university.
I'll never get my degree. I'll just be stuck in some menial
Look,
job.
I'm-
No,
I'm
I don't want
it's
your
not
pity.
my
That's not
problem.
why I came here, you see.
Oh.
I know you're just a tool of the administration.
Hey,
You're
I'm
just
not a
here in your
tool
ivory
here.
tower of academia.
And what's this, a touch of leprosy, perhaps?
I had a kidney transplant. My body seems to be rejecting it, sir.
Yeah, well, please don't reject it on my floor. Thank you. All right, Mr. Sullivan, I will give you a passing grade.
Maybe a D or a C, sir. But it doesn't matter anything.
But I insist on two conditions.
Anything, sir. I swear.
Number one, I expect you to drop history as your major.
Absolutely, sir. I swear. Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah, and I also expect to see a 10-page typed paper on the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk slipped under my door no later than a week from today.
Dr. Coven, I would have written you that paper anyway.
Uh-huh.
I always write one at the end of each and every.
Yeah, why don't you just take that down to the administration building and give that to the registrar, all right?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Administration building got like pillars, right? Big pillars.
It's right across the quad from the library.
Libraries with the clock, right? With the big clock.
You know where the snack bar is?
Yes, sir.
Right next door.
Right.
Yeah.
Second City. Second City.
Thank you very, very much. We enjoyed it.